Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Cardinal Playbook. Today, we'll talk some basketball with head men's basketball coach Larry Holley. Then, we will visit with Dustin Combs, the head softball coach at William Jewell, and we'll wrap it up with Paul Worstel, who is our tennis coach and sports information director. Inside the Cardinal Playbook, coming up in a moment.
From court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
Welcome, everybody, inside the Cardinal Playbook. It is time to talk basketball with head basketball coach Larry Holley. And good times here in the last couple of games. Rockhurst was a loss last week, but then you bounced back with wins over Missouri S&T and most impressively against Drury.
Yeah, it was a good week. Certainly the Rockhurst game didn't end the way we wanted, but we had a nice win against S&T. And in the 5 years that we've been away from NAIA and in the GLVC, I think this is S&T's best team. They had won 6 in a row, and then they had lost 4 in a row. So we were fortunate to beat them. They're talented. They play a different style. They press and kind of prevent you from running a half-court offense. But that was a nice win. And then Drury was really nice. We were able to hang on. We had a 14-point lead somewhat early in the second half, and Mr. Bundy put on a show with some great three-point shooting and a 30-point performance, but we were able to hang on against them. But we closed the deal with both of them, made some big free throws at the end, and we hadn't been doing that earlier, so that's a good sign.
Talk about Cameron Bundy had a nice game with 30, but Darius Tomlin came close to matching that. He was exceptional, 27 points against the Panthers. Darius
is having a great senior year. He had an injury, really groin tightened up at halftime of the S&T game, so he didn't play much in the second half, but a nice performance, obviously, against Drury, and he's showing good leadership and having a nice senior year.
One of the things I have to give you kudos on and your entire coaching staff is you handled the Panthers' pressure very, very well. Got scores out of it even, not just getting it across the timeline, but getting scores out of it.
We did, and probably playing against S&T on Thursday helped us with that because they press all the time. And, we do some things in practice every day that lends itself to pushing the ball up, finding the open man, and just making plays and not being stuck just to our half-court offense. And we need to be in attack mode against that, and we did, as you said, we did a nice job.
Yeah. Talking about big scores, of course, you got to talk about Larry Fitzgerald, 34 points against S&T.
Larry obviously didn't really start practicing with us till December 28th, so he's still learning our system, both offensively and defensively, and we're playing him both at the 3 and the 4, and that's two different mindsets, and we're trying to limit some things that we do with him in there. But in looking at our schedule, I thought the game that he might have a chance to break out, so to speak, might be S&T because of the way they play. Mm-hmm. They don't let you run much half-court offense, and with Larry struggling some with all of the sets that we have offensively, I thought in that game if he could kind of cut loose a little bit, he might have a good game, and he had a great game.
Yeah.
And he was consistent. He had 17 points each half. He can score the basketball. He's a very good offensive player.
I thought one of the guys that really has lifted you in the last couple of weeks, really since the beginning of the GLVC season, is Jordan Tanner. He's come off and he's given us a lot of athleticism, if nothing else.
Well, Jordan, when we signed him, he was recovering from a knee injury and hurt it again last summer. He had surgery in February, came back and led his community college team to the national tournament, Heston Community College, and then the rehab just didn't go well. And when we got him in the fall, he had a lot of rehab to do to get his quads at equal ability and strength, and then had a couple of setbacks, and finally got him healed and released to start practicing. And actually, this is the healthiest he's been for a year.
Right.
Much like Larry Fitzgerald playing in his first real game in 22 months. It's and that's an adjustment. I don't care how good you are, how talented you are. When you're not 100% or close to 100%, it limits you in what you can do. And Jordan has the ability to be a rim protector. He's an exceptional athlete. He can run the floor, and gives us another element that we haven't had for a while. And he's playing extremely well and getting better every day.
Patrick Whelan also played well enough over the 3 games that he was nominated for Player of the Week, and he has been a guy that has come on and played, has really good games at times.
He has. Really happy with that. He's a tall point guard, and he has struggled some against pressure, but he's had a really nice 2-game stretch against S&T and Drury, and we need that to continue.
Well, I'll tell you what, he came up against the press a couple of times against Drury, hit 3-pointers out of it. Now, I don't know, he's 5 feet away from you and he takes those. I don't know if you're telling him to or not, but those were very big threes against the Drury.
They were huge, and I don't have a problem with that as long as it's within the flow of the game, and that was within the flow of the game. We had people in a position, even though it was broken play at the end of the press, had people in a position over the offensive boards. Now, I don't want somebody shooting one on 2 or 1 on 3 or 1 on 4 in that situation, but it was the flow of the game. He felt it. I didn't have a problem with that, and really didn't have a problem with it after he made them. So.
Right. Well, yeah. I think another guy, and it seems like we talk about him all the time, and maybe therefore he gets overlooked because he's been consistently good, is Austin Regier.
Austin's had an amazing year. He told me at the start of the year his goal was to lead the GLVC in rebounding, and he's not the tallest, he's not the heaviest, but he's probably got the biggest Valentine in that chest wall. I mean, he's going to play his tail off all the time. And some people would say he's out of control sometimes, and that may be an accurate statement.
But don't you think this year he's done a better job at that?
Absolutely. And some of that's good. But if everybody played as hard as he does all the time, there wouldn't be a problem. I mean, it's always nice to have a guy scale it back a little bit,
right, rather
than give him. It's no fun to coach effort. You don't have to coach effort with Austin.
It's easier to say whoa than to say go, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, he has been special this year. All right, you have UMSL coming up. They're struggling in the league. I think 0-9 when I looked at last time, and they've lost a bunch in a row. However, I did some adding, and in their last 4 games, they've only lost by a total of 14 points. Bob Sunvold's a pretty good coach.
Probably the best 0-9 NCAA Division II team, not just this year, but maybe in the history of the sport. They lost in overtime to Quincy, at Quincy. If you recall, Quincy kind of had their way with the Cardinals. We lost by 29 up there. They lose to Lewis on a 75-foot shot at the buzzer. And that was the #1 play on ESPN's top 10 on that particular day. They're snake bit, and I feel a little bit like us. I mean, when we were 0-7 and we're playing S&T and they have their best team and Drury's tied for first in the league, we're looking at them. We're looking at 0-9 also. Right. I mean, there was a time I looked ahead and thought, gee whiz, Bob and I may both be 0-9 coming our game. And he's a terrific coach. And those guys are still playing hard, and they are talented. Right. I'm going to tell you what, I really think they can beat anybody in the league. And when you take Quincy to overtime at Quincy, yep, you can beat anybody in the league. So I think their biggest loss in the league is 11 points. I think they've lost 6 games by 5 or less, and it's I feel bad. He's a good friend and good coach. I hope he's got one more loss in him Thursday night. But I'm going to tell you what, they are a talented group, and I just hope they don't break out against us.
That's Larry Holley of the Cardinals visiting with us inside the Cardinal Playbook. And we'll be back with more after this.
Prior Learning Commons has been a great addition to William Jewell College for me as a professor, because I get to interact with the students in the class in a variety of different ways using different types of technology. But also for classes that I hold outside of the Prior Learning Commons, we're able to utilize the rendering studios and the innovation labs in order to enhance their projects for those classes.
From court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship, found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.